I'm Carmel, the director of the Duluth Folk School, as Mark just had told you, and thank you for being here to celebrate our 10-year anniversary of classes at Duluth Folk School. 10 years of classes, 10 years of building together, and I just want to point out our 10-year celebration tagline, "There's a good world to build," because I love it and because it seems more important than ever right now. There is still a good world to build. So this 10-year anniversary is a celebration of a milestone, but it's also a celebration of our community, of all of us. It's truly been an amazing group effort from our community, with assistance, advice, and participation of so many people in our community. This really is the space that Duluth built. So I want to accomplish 3 things here in my presentation: a quick look at where we've been, an enormous thank you to all of you who've helped us get to this point, and a quick look at our future. So let's start at the very beginning. What is a folk school? Well, most of you know that at its most basic, a folk school is a place for ordinary people to come to learn how to do things. A man named Grundtvig is generally credited with the folk school concept in Denmark in the mid-1800s. And at that time, the majority of Denmark's population was rural. Grundtvig believed that the classical education, with its emphasis on Latin and Greek, left out many ordinary people. He thought there should be schools for life, to instill a lifelong love of learning in people and to build foundational skills essential for a peaceful and just society and for the successful transition to democracy, which is what Denmark was going through at the time. And these goals still resonate today. Today, folk schools are proliferating all across the country and the world. They each have their own focus. Some focus mostly on music or art or youth or a specific culture. And they each have their own flavor, but what they all share is a desire to strengthen their community. And that is where Duluth Folk School comes in, with our brand new logo. We're definitely in the strengthening our community camp, and we want to add joy to it as well. We are an urban folk school so that we can be as accessible to as many people as possible, with 2 main goals. One is teaching handcrafting, and the other is building community. And that building community piece is becoming more important all the time. It's in community that we make connections and that we learn, that we find or offer help, that we share news, stories, joys, sorrows, that we discuss and plan, and that we are fully human. So we are here for our community to support and provide resources, to offer a place where people can gather and connect and learn. And this really is a special place. You can feel it when you come in. If you watch people coming in the door for the first time, you can just see the inspiration, joy, and calm on their faces. Our world really needs this kind of place for our communities. I'm also proud to say that many people have come to visit us from all over the country, as well as from other countries. We've had visitors from Scotland, Sweden, and Finland to see how we do things here at Duluth Folk School, because they've heard of us and our reputation as a vibrant folk school space, which is pretty cool. But again, that's not just me. It's all of us who have created this. So how did we get to this point? Well, here's a little bit of history of Duluth Folk School. First of all, these are the 3 original folk school partners: Brian French on the left, me in the middle, and Tim Bates on the right. The origin story is that Brian walked into Tim's office at UMD one day and said he thought Duluth should have a folk school. And Tim smiled and took out an outline he'd already made for a folk school in Duluth. And I joined them soon after. Brian left Duluth Folk School in 2022 and now lives in Grand Rapids, and he's actually here tonight, which is awesome. And then on a very sad note, which many of you know, our co-founder Tim Bates just passed away in December. So Tim's passing has been really hard and very sad, of course for his family, but for the so very many people in our community who took classes from him at UMD, who were lucky enough to go on outdoor trips with him, and for all of us in the folk school community who valued his amazing building skills and good ideas. He was one of the best people I knew, and I still find myself thinking, I gotta tell Tim before I catch myself. So part of our 10-year celebration this year is also honoring Tim, whose heart and craftsmanship is everywhere here in this building. So why did we want to start a folk school? Well, there were several reasons, including shifts in our society that we'd noticed. We've changed our relationship to goods. We don't make things very often anymore. We don't repair things. And because we're not doing much making or repairing, we're not practicing those skills or passing them down to our younger generations. Our families don't live near each other, and we're also busy. We're not as connected to our families, neighbors, and friends, so we don't even have the opportunity to share knowledge and skills. And also, schools have changed. Gone are the days of industrial arts and home ec. Even art, music, and recess have been cut. And of course, the online world has exploded with so much content through social media, streaming services, and now AI. It's ironic that we each hold the world in our hands in our phones, and yet we're more isolated than ever. But those are all reasons for starting a folk school that are counteracting a negative. There are also many positive reasons that we wanted to start a folk school. One is that it feels good to work with your hands, to create, move, build, repair, feel cloth and smell wood, work with clay, and dig in the dirt. And it can be very useful. Our lives are much more sustainable if we know how to garden, repair our clothes, bake our own bread, and make fixes for everyday problems. And finally, it just feels great to be in community, sharing knowledge and skills with others. And it's astounding how many connections you make when you actually interact with people in your community, and how good you feel interacting, and how useful those connections can be. So in starting Duluth Folk School, we wanted to bring all of that together: the sustainability of learning skills, satisfaction and joy of working with our hands and sharing skills and knowledge, and being in community. We wanted a welcoming space for the entire community, a space that feels good to be in, where you can just come in and see what's going on. You don't have to be a member. You don't have to buy something. So that's the why of starting Duluth Folk School. But how do we start? We started offering classes in 2016 with Mark Lavaliere's bicycle maintenance class, renting various spaces around town. And there he is. We were an itinerant organization hauling bins of tools and equipment to different places each time we wanted to start to teach a class. But it turns out arranging those spaces at different places each time you want to teach a class, hauling the bins of materials and tools in and out, was not easy. But worst of all, it didn't easily build community. So we needed a permanent home. We were looking for something centrally located, right on bus lines and bike lanes, and accessible to communities who may not ordinarily have access to these kinds of spaces. We found this building in Lincoln Park, which was centrally located and affordable. And of course, it was affordable because it was hideous and in rough shape. And if you get a chance, please look at the posters over there of the renovations, because there are a lot of fun pictures of how it used to look. And then with the help of many volunteers, we renovated it. And in October 2018, the building was finished, and we opened Dovetail Cafe. Early on, Brian and Tim and I tried to divide and conquer because there was so much to do. Brian mostly handled class registrations, Tim mostly handled the building, and I got Dovetail Cafe up and running, started the marketplace, art shows, and events. Over the years, it's been really interesting to see how different people's perceptions of our beginnings were. Those who knew Brian thought he was mainly in charge. Those who knew Tim thought it was his project. And those who knew me knew I was spending huge amounts of time working on a project near and dear to my heart that I had always envisioned. The truth is, we all worked on our pieces of the project, but we always came together to talk and plan Duluth Folk School classes and ideas. So that's how we started. Whew, I've never seen a computer before. But of course, it's not that simple. It's been much more than the three founders who built this place. Duluth Folk School currently has a small but truly awesome staff. One of the things that surprises people the most about us is that we actually have just one full-time equivalent paid staff, which means we have 2 part-time employees, an AmeriCorps member, and many dedicated volunteers, including me. I've been volunteering here full-time for 10 years. And of course, we have our amazing Dovetail staff who make espresso drinks, cook, bake, keep the marketplace running, clean the floors, keep the flowers blooming, and maintain the equipment of the building. They're the first ones people coming into the building see and interact with, and they're just phenomenal. So a huge shout out to all the wonderful Folk School and Dovetail staff we have right now, and to all of our great volunteers. Should have taken a drink earlier. All of our volunteers as well, because they all currently keep us going. But we also have an entire 10-year history of people who have helped us get to this 10-year mark. People who believed in us at the beginning of our project and believed in what we were trying to do, and people who still believe in what we're trying to do and have turned out to support us in so many ways. When we started, it was wild, and we were in hair-on-fire mode all the time. And one of the things I always regretted was not having the opportunity to acknowledge and properly thank all of the very many people who helped us and supported us all these years, and especially in those early years when we had no track record of running folk schools or cafes. They believed in us and what we were trying to do, and we owe them all an enormous amount of gratitude. But the belief in what we're doing continues, and we so appreciate all of the people who continue to support us right now. I know it's cliche to say that it's a group effort, or it takes a village, or teamwork that makes a dream work, but truly, it really was and still is all of us who make this place what it is. When people come in and say how great it feels to be in the space, that's because of all of you here, all the people who come in, all of our staff who decide to work here, all the people who decide to support a place like this. This really is a place built by the community for the community. And that's so important because we don't have many places like this in our world. A place to go and a place to just be, a place to connect with others in our community. So think of it, where else can you just walk in and sit down with a book or a notebook and not be expected to buy anything, not be hurried out? The library is one of the few places, and their funding keeps getting threatened, and they don't have great coffee, but I'm not holding against them. But places like this are critical. They're the underpinnings of societies. They're the foundation of communities. We need them now more than ever. So, to thank everybody, I started out thinking, oh, I'll read a list of all the people and what they contributed, but that was ridiculous. The list just got longer and longer and longer. So many people have played such a big role here that it's truly astounding. So instead, I am going to read a long list, but it's going to be just the kinds of contributions, which I know is not complete, but I hope everybody knows how very much we appreciate what you contributed and continue to contribute. Okay. Here we go. People who were encouraging, who gave us advice, and who had opinions. People who designed our logos and our websites through architectural plans and helped us navigate building codes and permits. People who helped us take off plaster and lath, scrape glue, and then build and repaint what you see here. People who gave us color advice inside and outside of the building. People who donated tools, equipment, furniture, books, and office supplies. People who lent us equipment or gave us a good deal on equipment. People who gave us good tips on where to find good stuff in dumpsters and on curbsides. The many wonderful instructors who stepped up to teach our classes, artisans who put items in our marketplace, and artists who put art on our walls, all of the staff in the past who got Dovetail Cafe up and running, the chefs, bakers, cooks, baristas, dishwashers, managers, marketplace coordinators, and art coordinators, coffee roasters, the people who have taken photos and videos for us, foundations and organizations who have given us grants and funding, people who have helped us with fundraising, development, and writing grants, all of our donors who recognize the importance of a community resource such as this and know that everything always takes money. People who gave us business advice, bankers who listened to our story and gave us loans, lawyers who didn't laugh and helped us with documents and beginning a nonprofit, insurance agents who didn't flinch when we talked about high BTU ranges and dangerous woodworking equipment, vendors who were helpful and patient while we got our feet under us, people who agreed to be on our board, musicians who played here and livened up the atmosphere, people who set up sound systems and helped with lighting, journalists who wrote stories about us, students who studied here and lent a hand as needed, our studio tenants, especially the long-suffering ones at the beginning who rented from us through periods of having no heat and having porta potties out on the loading dock outside back. People who helped us get our beer taps and select fabulous beers, people who helped us with flyers and signs, the guy who told us our Schnitzelbank was a fake, people who lead our events, such as cribbage and musicians open mics, writers open mics, sea shanties, speed friending, story folk, trivia, Duluth 101, Run Club, and so many other events. People who helped us get our youth program running, interns and staff who made posters, handbooks, and drew images for us, people who helped us with demonstrations and presentations, collaborators and partners, including Tamarack Dance, Cafe Sci, Lyceum, Makerspace, Resource Renew, Northern Bedrock, and so many more, our Lincoln Park neighbors and Advancing Lincoln Park Main Street and Eco3 organizations, calm people who gave us respite with yoga and Tai Chi, people who have rented space from us, people who have held meetings and workshops here, people who came to spoken word events and art shows, people who have given us great ideas, people who washed windows, checked the sprinkler system, repaired the roof, and made sure our venting systems worked properly, people who built things for us, who held interesting events and quirky parades here, people who drew and painted pictures for us and gave us flowers, artists and artisans who came here to work on their projects, people who told stories and helped spread the word of what we're doing, our families and friends who supported us, were patient with the huge amount of time commitments, our many and amazing volunteers who helped move tables and chairs a few 100,000 times, and the volunteers who helped us set up for events, welcomed people into our building, hosted classes, demonstrated various crafts, wrote thank you notes, baked cakes, cupcakes, cookies, pies, made soups, repaired things, cleaned things, helped with the millions of things that need to be done that our small staff can't do alone. And of course, last but not least, our participants who have come to our classes and events, given us feedback and suggestions, and who have become part of Duluth Folk School community. It truly has been a community-wide project. So many people have been involved and continue to be involved that is our secret sauce. That's what makes us so relevant and so reflective of our great community. So thank you to all of you. Phew, okay. So what did all of that help enable us to do? Well, for one thing, just look at these photos of classes over the years. There's woodworking and mitten making and wood carving, Appalachian egg basket weaving, canning, timber framing, kayaking, beekeeping, herbalism, bicycle maintenance, sausage making, chainsaw sharpening, making felted scarves, tree ID, hat making, hard cider making, nature walks, knife sharpening, soap making, natural dyes, mobiles, fly tying, skin on canoe, eco-printing, Ukrainian egg decorating, linoleum cutting for block printing, watercolor painting, Hamantaschen baking, snowshoe lacing, paddle making, and that is just a handful of the photos of classes. We have had about 1,000 classes now with thousands of participants taught by over 200 instructors. So many great classes and so many good memories and experiences. So we've talked about classes, but as I mentioned before, Duluth Folk School's mission has always been two-pronged, to teach handcrafting and to build community. And as soon as we got our building, we've been working on building community by having events and gatherings here. We've hosted thousands of events. Almost all of them have been free. And here are just some of the things that have gone on in our building. Again, this is just a quick list. There are so many things going on here all the time. Some of them are recurring, some are one-time events, but there is always a lot happening with Duluth Folk School. I'll show you just a few photos of those too. Here is instructor Devin at Summerfest with his chain stitching machine, a winter's farmer's market, a Rabine rendezvous, Fix-It clinic with Resource Renew, Makerspace, and Northern Bedrock. We've collaborated with lots of local organizations, and the city. This is a snowflake structure that was commissioned by the city down by the harbor. We've had tool swaps, wreath making, visiting artisans. These ones were from India and Pakistan. Dances, art shows. This one with Alice and Ani's art. Kristen Anderson's felted art and birchbark art by John Zazada. Bicycle art shows. Alexa Carson's art. And we have had knitting groups and community crafting projects. This one was a particularly fun community project where we were felting a wool rug, but instead of using our hands, everybody took off their shoes and socks and used their feet, and it was super fun. We've had folk jams, singing together. This is a sea shanty singing, which is our latest fun event. We have presentations. This picture shows Dave Poggle and Tom Storm from a recent Duluth 101 presentation on Chester Bowl. We've had music shows, tool nights, demonstrations, and so much more. So you can see how much goes on in our space. And again, this is only a sampling, which brings me to our final part of the presentation. Now that we've had 10 years of classes and events under our belt, we're looking to the future. And we've got many more plans for the next 10 years, including a much-needed new website and registration system, and different types of classes and events and field trips, so keep your eyes peeled. But there are also 3 main things that we need to begin with. One is more staff. You've seen what we can do with our very small staff, but we can't rely on such an enormous amount of volunteer work forever. But of course, to get more staff, we need more funding. We are a nonprofit, and also education and community building are 2 things that don't make money. In other countries, these kinds of folk school spaces are funded by the governments because they recognize how important they are to the community. But here we don't get government funding. We do have tremendous community support. We don't always talk about finances, so people often walk in here and see all the people and the things going on, and they assume that means we're flush with money. The truth is, we're flush with good things, great people, and possibility. But Duluth Folk School has been operating on a shoestring budget and only happens with 100 volunteer hours a week. It works, but it's not sustainable for the future. Also, the third thing we need is more space, and that's related to funding as well. We are just out of room here. Our main classroom is in the library, which is a lovely room, but it's up a flight of stairs, and that makes it inaccessible to a lot of people. And also, there are just so many people who want to make use of our space here for all sorts of events, projects, meetings, that we definitely need more space. We have a 3-part plan for our space. First, we're going to build out the back. We have a back workspace that is not practical. It is chopped up into 4 different levels. It has no room for more than 1 or 2 people, and it is crammed with storage. That is an actual photo of it. The current plan is to renovate that back area and build an accessible workshop classroom right on the main level so that people will be able to come in the front door, go straight back, go to the classroom without having to go up any stairs. And to honor Tim, we're going to be calling this Tim's Workshop. A local artist, Janet Hill, made a wonderful, whimsical painting of it for us, and we're showing it here for the first time. Janet, I don't know if you're still here. Oh, there she is. Janet came, and yeah. It's such a fun painting. She makes beautiful art that we actually carry here in our marketplace, and you may have seen her cards or prints here before. And actually, we are also selling prints of Tim's Workshop as a fundraising thing too. So, thank you, Janet. Building out the back will give us an accessible classroom, which will be great, but not quite enough space for all we do. So, second part is buying the lot right next door to us where the old Hong Kong Cafe was before it burned down in 1979. It would be perfect for us to build on and expand into, connecting with the current building right here. It would improve what we could do tremendously. And part 3 is our rural campus. This was always part of the dream, but impractical right now. The pandemic kind of made us put that on the back burner, and so we are going to revisit that in the future. So maybe you've noticed there's a theme, that our need for space and staff is a limiting factor for the future, and it all takes funding. I've done some calculations, and the total cost for all of this, building out the back and building on the lot next door, looks to be about $2.8 million, with some parts of it, such as a better classroom space in the back, being just a fraction of that. We don't have big backers or endowments, and one of the things we're doing to ensure the vitality of Duluth Folk School over the next decade is finding people who want to financially be a part of this great project. So if you or anyone you know is interested in tax advantage giving, legacy giving, pledging, development help, or even having building naming rights, I'd love to talk with you. I truly believe that Duluth Folk School is making Duluth better in so many ways, and it's a great and fun way to contribute to Duluth and our region. A last note about this year, we're going to honor Tim all during this 10-year celebration. His wife, Julie, who is also here, and her family are planning a celebration of life for Tim on June 13th, right here at the Folk School. So stay tuned to see what else we'll be doing, not only to celebrate 10 years of classes, but to honor Tim as well. We have a wonderful place here in our beautiful city. Last year, about 80,000 people came through our doors and felt the inspiration and welcoming atmosphere and connected with others and learned things. So let's keep it going. In closing, I want to invite you to continue to be a part of this as instructors and presenters, donors, volunteers, participants, or all of those things. And please take a minute to add to our memory and meaning board over there. So many people have stories from this space, and we'd love to have you share them with us. Just write or draw what this space means to you or what your favorite memory is from here. And thank you again, all of you. This truly has been and still is a grand community project. Please stay in touch, and thank you again.